I'll pay. Okay. I'd like to start by acknowledging that this meeting is respectfully held on the traditional territory of the Sycos First Nation on whose land we live, work, and play. You have an agenda circulated. Would somebody like to move adoption? Oh, yeah, with the addition of 5.1, a delegation from Progressive Employment.
So moved.
Anybody, all in favor? Carried. Okay, we have the minutes from the April 8th meeting.
Move to adopt.
Seconder,
Second.
all in favor? Carried. We don't have any bylaws, so we'll move to 5.1. Ash, it's all yours. Do we have a battery in the podium?
It was in the calendar, so thank you so much for having us here. The report is the first quarter. On one side, you'll see the top 10 employers within our community, and then on the other side, you'll see top 8 job vacancies based on the NOC code. So there has a drastic change from the last quarter. We have added a few new, like the last 70012, 70010. There have been huge demand for construction related jobs. So that's something new. Our the top NOC code for social and community service workers stays the same. It was like that before as well. Certainly elementary school teachers jobs were added into this. So that's great. And then secondary school teachers too. So you must be noting it's not top 10, it's top 8, because there were many, like probably 6 or 7 other NOC codes that were in those 3 jobs posted. So I just kept it till top 8. And then if we switch the page, our top employer is BC Public Services with 40 jobs. The second one is School District, Northern Health, Artemis Gold, Four Rivers Co-op, Regional District Bulky Chaco. That was pretty. They're not in the top 8 usually, so they are this time. So they had 11 job posting in this first quarter. Career Secani Connexus. So all these organization or businesses were on this before in the last year, whether on the last quarter or before, but Regional District is the new one that is added because they had so many jobs opening. Now we have seen a reduced in jobs. Beside, if you just remove BC Public and School District and Artemis has gone down a little bit because they have hired people in the past. So there's a number that has gone down a little bit. And then we are hosting a job fair in Vanderhoof on May 1st at the arena from 12 to 5. So I think roughly we have 24 businesses so far confirmed. So we're hoping to get at least 25 or more. And if anybody have a question for me regarding the job vacancies based on the NOC code, please feel free to ask.
Just quickly, do you have a way of telling us how successful you are at placing people, and how these are great that there's jobs available.
Mm-hmm.
How successful are we at getting people into those jobs, Ash?
Actually, jobs are getting filled. I think the major challenge comes where we're looking at like a specific skill. So whether it's into a health sector, whether it's into a social worker or mental health liaison, or like any specific skill, that's usually difficult to fill, or for the organization they have to kind of invite people over from Prince George or elsewhere else. But we have filled, like if you in last couple of years there were so many job opportunities and those got filled. But certainly there is a challenge in, for sure, health sector. We're actually doing really well lately with teachers. Again, they're getting filled. Some teachers are moving outside of Vanderhoof or like even in the region. But some position, yes, some industries, yes, there will be still a challenge because we don't have like a skilled force, whether it's regard to Northern Health or teachers and all that. So
Understood.
yeah, so we are successful, but it's very difficult to rate it because there is no measures that we could rate it, because like most of these jobs, so let's say if somebody applied for school teaching job, they didn't knock our doors at WorkBC. They have applied by themselves
Yeah.
because they were either in a school, college, finishing up their degree, or so.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Ash, thanks for doing this. And I think it's one of those things, what we don't like looking forward to, but there's lots of information there. So how many jobs total are vacant?
That I don't have it on the list, but there are roughly over 100 jobs so far. In good old days when I was used to be here, it was 200 plus, but now it's
Yeah,
just
one
over
time I
100.
thought we were 300 and
Yes,
something,
yeah, no,
remember?
it's 130-ish.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Ash.
Thank you. And that's just those that are posted with us. There are some that are just word of mouth, and especially logging industry or transportation. So
Maybe a follow-up to Tom's. Is there any, are there any particular skill sets that are, you see recurring that are missing that people could focus on, maybe encouraging people to work down a path to get to that?
I think health sector is major. Based on our past experience, jobs related to the services that are offered by Qatar Sakani, Connexes, Psychos, mental
Yeah.
health, addiction liaison, like those are very many jobs that are like being posted on a continuous basis. When I was going over these BC public jobs, like I've never seen that many jobs through BC public, but then BC public is through everywhere and every government sector comes into there. But if we have to narrow down on certain thing that we can work with, is something that Kursakani, Connexes, Psychos, and Northern Health offers. And that services is very much, we could just work with and offer programs too.
Yeah.
And then I have met with few employers in Fraser Lake too, that said that I think we could use some more class 1 drivers and all that. So there is a talk for hopefully having a PBLMT, like something paid
Yeah.
by the ministry. So that's always in need. And I think another target, just my personal experience or suggestion, would be working very closely with Artemis Gold. And what we need to make sure is that through Psychos, DOV, Artemis Gold, CNC, WorkBC, like if they know they will be hiring 10 equipment operators or 10 rock truck drivers, we make sure that we have them trained, because it will be really bad for the community when if they have 10 rock truck drivers, 6 of them are from outside Prince George even,
Yeah.
So that's something that I think if we could plan a committee, I would be happy to help. And that's something we need to target and focus the paid training through PBLMT or community workforce grant or something.
Sounds good. Tom, you had a follow-up?
Yeah, a follow-up, like it does say here, Artemis Gold, 20 jobs, but
Yeah, so those
20 jobs as what are truck driver, pipe fitter?
there were few equipment operator or driver jobs. Most of them right now from in this quarter is through their head office and like, very technical job opportunity, not like entry level. But for us, we could focus on those rock trucks or truck drivers or equipment operator and kind of have some programs going on where we train, if not 50 or 100, like batches of 8 truck drivers or 8 equipment operators or 20 rock truck drivers, so that we have the skill force that is available for them before it's too late.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you,
Thank
Ash, for this. That's
Thank you. Have a
always
good
great
evening.
information. Okay. Moving on to 6.1. Margaret, are you speaking to this?
All right, this is a grant application to UBCM under the Asset Management Planning Program. We were successful to get $10,000 from the Infrastructure Planning Grant Program towards this utility master plan. Total cost $100,000. This grant would be for $25,000, which would be also used against the utilities master plan.
Anybody want to move the recommendation? Second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Perfect. Moving on to councillor items. Let's start with Councillor Martins this time. Oh, sorry.
Thank you. I don't have too much to say anyway, just we had our housing committee meeting last week, and I'm sure Councillor Lozay will give you more information than I am on that, but that was good. I thought was a good discussion. We had good discussion anyway towards the end of it there with looking around for suitable building places and kind of what would sell right for our area. And so I thought it was kind of enlightening for that part of it too. It was a good group discussion for sure. So other than that, really, that's it for me.
Councillor Ballmer.
Basically the same, budget last week and that. I did go to the rec fair on Saturday, and I'm sad to say that there wasn't that many there, and it was really cold in the arena too. I felt sorry for the people who were there for a long time, and there weren't that many visitors. My wife and I cruised it, and we got some information on rugby and all of that sort of thing, but it just wasn't well attended, and on both sides for people having booths there, and also for people like when we pulled up to the arena, I thought, well, maybe it's not on because there was hardly any vehicles. So other than that, that's it for me.
Councillor Vandola.
Yeah, so Mayor Moutre, Councillor Frankel, and I attended the Council of Forest Industries annual convention in Vancouver. Pretty good meeting, actually. It's I mean, a lot of the speakers, it's common themes that we've heard across the board, and other kind of forest sector related kind of speak. You know, we need to do more with First Nations. They got to have, you know, do a better job connecting with them, getting them involved. They want skin in the game. That was pretty much the scope of a lot of the stuff that was going on. The pieces that are really important for us are the behind the scenes pieces, where we're actually meeting with, you know, assistant deputy ministers or regional exec directors or industry reps, and having those, you know, outside of the, you know, the forum conversations. And you know, I was lucky enough to sit with Mike Hickaway, who's the assistant deputy minister for the North area, for the whole Friday afternoon, you know, and got a chance to chat quite a bit. But some interesting stuff from Kofi. Just talking about economic impacts. Brian and I put together a handout that we're going to send to everybody, but it has all the stuff. But there's some pretty interesting pieces in there. The gross domestic product for British Columbia through the forest sector is $17.4 billion is what's generated. 100,000 jobs out of the industry, which 10% of those in that workforce are First Nations. Investment wise, there's $15.8 billion invested in BC's forest sector. Interesting enough, a councillor from the city of Vancouver, Lisa Dominato, spoke, and the entire council of for Vancouver is very pro forest sector. They understand, for them, forestry products relate to housing starts, and they are expecting you know, another 1 million people to move into the Lower Mainland by 2034, and so they have a huge demand for forest products just to get that, just to have enough houses to meet that need. So they're all in, very supportive forest sector. She did bring up that 25% of the 100,000 jobs actually are occupied within the Lower Mainland, which I thought was an interesting stat. $6.6 billion of that revenue goes to you know, the province, and as far as royalties and stumpage. Well, let me take that back. There's about $2.5 billion goes to the federal government, and about $3 billion goes to provincial government, and about $500,000 goes to local governments. You know, it's through their royalties and stumpages and stuff. One of the things that was brought up on the last day was Premier Eby came and spoke to the group. And it was pretty disappointing because he had this particular document in front of him, and he reiterated verbatim to the group with this out and read it to everybody. And I'm thinking, like, you're wasting our time, man. So that was a bit of a disheartening piece. But, you know, like he said he heard loud and clear that we need a sustainable supply of fiber. You know, no, but the one thing he did bring up is we did meet with Cam Simpson, the timber sale manager here for the local BC Timber Sales. And they have a sale finally getting posted after 900 days of not having anything. And it's a 247 hectare piece up in the salmon operating area, 0.14 piece size. So who's to say how well that'll go, but the premier brought that up as a win to the entire group. Oh, we have a sale coming out in Stewart and Chaco. And I'm like, okay, great. He brought up that Forest Enhancement Society of BC is contributing $50 million towards some sort of fire mitigation kind of practices or other mitigations. And he talked again about need for nation partnerships, really pushing the value added, specifically identified a company called A1 Trusses out of Surrey that is generating $95 million locally to producing their products. So that was kind of the gist of it, but a really great kind of opportunity for us to meet with all those higher end public servants and other forest folks. Also met with Aman from RTA. She wanted to have talk about a survey about what my feelings were with the watershed enhancement initiative and how that was. It was half hour just to kind of go over some things with her and how I felt that process was going. Also on Saturday, participated in the community cleanup around. I was actually surprised. We didn't find a lot of garbage along our route, which was pretty nice to see. Like we had Stewart Street, and I thought it was going to be pretty bad along the fence along the football field, and it wasn't that bad, So it was, just kind of kudos to the citizens of town that there's not a lot of littering going on like we would have seen in 20 years ago or more. So that was good to see. And lastly, I don't know if it's good, bad, or indifferent, but I was elected as the Artemis co-chair for the Community Liaison Committee. So
Congratulations.
yeah. That's it for me.
Thank you.
Press
Councillor Lozay.
anything? No, I'm good. Okay. So I'm just going to mention something from the week of March 18th to 22nd. I was down in Kimberley for provincials for hockey, U15 provincials. And my feeling is that anytime a hockey team or a sports team or a class leaves Vanderhoof, they're ambassadors for Vanderhoof. But I want to say they didn't win the provincials. They came in second or lost first. But but they did win the most sportsman-like team. Yeah, so I think that's to me, that I was really proud of them for that, because everybody was so yeah, Vanderhoof is a classy town. So April 15th, 16th, budget meetings. But and coming out of those budget meetings, I would like to present a notice of motion for the next regular council meeting that council directs staff to complete a service agreement with the Vanderhoof Public Library Board that includes a funding formula and outlines the obligations of each party. A draft, yes, a draft service agreement. That was my, a draft, yes. So that's for the next regular meeting.
So
Yeah.
notice of motion, according to our procedures bylaw, councillor can present it and it doesn't get discussed until the next meeting. And then you can vote on that motion or discuss it at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so just.
So we don't do anything with
We
that.
don't do anything with it right now. We
It'll
just,
be on the next.
that's right. Okay, and I'm still not done.
Oh,
No, and we did have our housing committee meeting, and the only thing that I'm gonna say, because I'll wait to talk about it when the minutes come out or the draft minutes come out. Urban Systems presented their progress on the complete communities report they're working on. And they're struggling to find local developers and builders to respond to their survey. So I'm just putting it out there for the rest of council. If you can, if you think of somebody, let me know their name and we'll tap on their shoulder and see if they can participate. More information, more participation, the better, information we're going to get. So, yeah, and then subdivision servicing bylaw, blah, blah, blah. Okay, community cleanup, April 20th, that I was also participated in that. But I noticed, I was cleaning up behind Subway, and same as you, Councillor Vandola, I was surprised at how little garbage, well, I mean, you picked up bags of garbage, but I think they gave me 5 bags. They said, you're going behind Subway, you're gonna need all of these, but I didn't. But one thing I did notice between, there was a pile of old wood between the Chevron and Subway, an empty lot, and then some brush along the tracks. And I have emailed Craig, but I think it's really important that we be diligent that the right of ways or the corridors for the railway are clear. So as a fire mitigation. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Councillor Frankel.
Thanks, Your Worship. And I think Councillor Vandola covered off Kofi. And the only thing I do have to say is I want to thank all of you as members of council. We're doing a lot of heavy lifting the last couple of weeks. And it enables me to do other things in the province. And you don't know how much I appreciate you guys doing what you do. So I really thank you for doing the heavy lifting. And so that's all I got.
And on that note, Brian, though, I just want to really, well, Councillor Frankel, but I really want to thank you for stepping out there and being a leader provincially on the forestry file and pushing and fighting the good fight for us. So thank you for that.
Here, here.
Okay, so again, I won't speak more on Kofi. I think Councillor Vandola covered it all there. That's good. April 16th, I had the opportunity, the RCMP commissioner was here visiting the detachment. So that's the head of the RCMP for the entire country. So that doesn't happen. So amazing opportunity to get to speak to him. Again, as I think I let you guys know, really pushing new building, which he didn't see was a federal matter. So he's promised to get back to me on that. And somebody's going to have to take responsibility for it. And looking at that case files per member, and he was very aware of that. And they are working. And now it's a union issue as well, right? That they're working to reduce those case files per member. On the 17th was a busy day. First meeting with the farmers market folks. Really great work they're doing there. There was a study done by UMBC on farmers markets. They did Vanderhoof, they did Burns Lake and Smithers, looking at the economic impact. That study found that the economic impact to Vanderhoof was $1.3 million. Like, that's just amazing out of a once-a-week event through the summer. I've suggested to Moklis, and we'll bring it up in the agenda committee, that we reach out to them and maybe have them come as a delegation and talk about that report and get it through. They had a few requests for the site, but I think that's all reasonable, and we'll pass that on to the crew and see where that goes. After that, I had a meeting with the chamber just to touch base and go forward. And we're going to go with quarterly meetings with Councillor Bulmer and chamber staff, president and vice president going forward, which I think scheduling quarterlies is a really good way to bring things together and make sure that goes, we keep that, everybody pulling in the same direction there. Then, of course, there was the RBA closed meeting that evening. That was the same day as the housing committee meeting too, which that was a really good report to see. It'd be very interesting to see how it goes forward from here, and maybe some of the input that was given back to them. Hopefully, will get included in there. Subdivision and bylaw workshop we were all at, or most of us were at, on the 18th. If you weren't able to make it, I encourage you to get caught up on that, because again, all these are all working together, so it's important that we all know what's in all of those reports. I was also in the community cleanup. again, I would concur with everybody else. It was a low amount of garbage. In fact, I had connaught, so at the end of it, I did a circle around the building here just to make sure we got all four corners and looking the best as we can. And I concur with the rec fair comments. It was very poorly attended on both sides, and it's such a tough one because whatever time of year to do it, it's wrong for a lot of sports, right? So maybe that needs a rethink and how we go forward, and maybe there's 2 smaller events through the years, so we make sure it's everybody gets a crack at the can or something. I don't know, but it would be, yeah. No, for sure. So anyway, something we should look at. May is a busy month for everybody, as I know. I'll be heading to Minerals North in Kitimat, which I'm looking forward to. It'll be good to get what's going on in the mining sector, a bit of a report back. Then going on a tour of the smelter and the power station. So that'll be interesting to see that side of the operation. We see the other side here of the lack of water and see where all that water goes out the other side. Then NCLGA, of course, is the week after that. Also in May 11th is the Wild Goose Chase. So hopefully everybody can take part in that. There is a walking event now. An e-bike event? So anyways, it's great to see. I can remember it as a kid growing up, and it's great to see it keeping going strong and one of those Vanderhoof traditions that we have every spring. Okay, that's all I have. So we'll move on from there. If I have my agenda in the right hand. Okay, we have the council priorities that we have on every meeting there, just to remind us keeping in the right direction. 8.2, we have the Vanderhoof detachment crime statistics. Any comments, questions on that? Councillor Bulmer.
Oh, just the assault one bothers me a little bit. It's a little on the high side. I was looking at that. And other than that, it doesn't seem too bad, but the assault ones really bother me.
Nobody else? Okay, moving on. The accounts payable listing, any questions off there? Seeing none, let's move on to 9.1, the request for camping at baseball fields. What I would suggest, somebody would put a motion on the table and kind of 2 options, to allow it or to receive it. So when somebody puts it on the table, then we can discuss. Oh, sorry, I think.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I think you were first, Councillor Martins.
Yeah, I was gonna, oh, you need somebody to move it?
We need a motion and then we
Okay,
can.
yeah, I'll make a motion to put it on the floor for sure.
Need to actually, yeah, I need a motion.
Like-
Like to either move to allow it or to deny it.
We talk about it afterwards?
Yeah,
Okay,
You don't
yeah,
have to.
you don't have to vote how you put it now.
okay, good. I'll move to allow it.
Second it?
Yeah.
Did you want to speak to it?
Yeah, I
first?
did. I was just gonna say, I mean, we certainly have an option. It's gonna go one way or the other. That's, you have 2 choices, not a whole bunch of options there, but I was hoping to hear, maybe staff did hear if they came back and are assuming all liabilities for it. And I wondered if it's an option to allow them to do it the first of I think it was more than 1 date she was looking for. If we allowed the 1 date with a contingency that the cleanup and stuff is approved and it get back to normal condition on the morning after, so to speak. And if it isn't up to snuff or whatever, then it couldn't be done again without a deposit or something, whatever it costs staff to clean it up. We need to protect ourselves from that, I thought.
Yeah, and so speaking in favor, one of the issues that we thought we had, and I like it being cleaned up and all of those things, but I think we also maybe need a look at making sure that it's secure and safe. right? And so however that looks, if it's security or they say, here's our security plan, then that's good, but I would really add that to the whole thing. And you know, and this is just gonna be the first. If there's a swim meet and there's this and there's that. Yeah, you know, we've got the big high school reunion, people are gonna wanna park everywhere. So just a thought.
Right precedence.
Yeah.
Councillor Bowman.
I also would like to speak in favor of it, covering both what Councillor Martins and Councillor Frankel have said about the cleanup and that. But when I look at, years ago, I used to actually go down there and enjoy that, and it was enjoyable. And looking at other towns and the draw that brings into town and being able to camp right there is much a draw for bringing people into our town. So I would speak in favor of that motion.
Yeah, I too would like to go forward with their suggestion here. And like Councillor Frankel and myself back in the day, we both played on softball teams and went to different communities where we camped on site. And it was, you know, I think about the amount of money that I spent at other communities, and I could see that exact same reciprocation by others coming into our community. And so like both Councillor Martin and Councillor Frankel said, if they have plans in place that for the cleanup and security, safety, that kind of thing, I'm totally for this going forward.
Councillor Lozey.
Yeah, so I missed the presentation, but I think that whatever plans and that are put in place, that's something that's going to be reiterated to any other group that would come forward. So just some thought to be put into it and really try and be as specific as possible.
Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Is it just a yes or no? Or is it any conditions?
Yeah, we need.
That would have. So then we're going to do an amendment or like a,
No,
okay,
I guess.
Would it actually be a permit or is it?
We have no mechanism
So
for
you're just gonna say yes or no, but
asking for,
security, safety.
and who's approving their.
insurance has been brought up in the past.
Yeah, I know, I say that. Boy, I always say it, but somebody has to be liable if something bad happens there. I don't know.
Councillor Lozey.
I guess there's not a letter of understanding that they could sign or a contract is a little bit too rigid, but I, do you know, like, is there something that you can nail down a commitment that this is the understanding? And if it's not followed through with, then this is the consequence. It won't happen. Type of, yeah, I see. Okay.
What about the MIA event insurance? Do they qualify for that? But the camping isn't,
It is.
it's part of their event? Okay,
So
so they have to have that.
Okay.
can I suggest that we approve staff working on an agreement that's going to come back to us? Like we get some sort of a staff report back that is the final. We prove it in principle? No?
Yeah, it's in June though.
Yeah, we gotta do that. I'd say I'm good with the way Ernest has put
But
it.
with the
Just with a few caveats.
cleaning up after themselves and having insurance.
And if it's not up to staff or whoever's gonna go check it. It's not up to, it doesn't meet standards the next morning. Monday after, whatever the day after, if it doesn't meet standards, then the next time it won't get approved.
So you want to just approve the first one?
That's how I felt about to kind of try it, because remember we had Sergeant Day here that night when they made that presentation, and I asked him too, and he was standing there. I said, what's your take? Like, do you guys love that kind of stuff when it comes to town? He said, no, they don't love that. As far as RCMP, I mean, they're all kind of together. They're all there for the same reason, but not everybody gets along either, I guess. So they obviously have, well, they obviously have had a few incidences. He didn't relate to anything specific, but we've all been in those situations. We know what that's like. So that's just my concern. You want it to be a good event. We don't want to hinder a good event, that's for sure.
I'm gonna say, if we're just approving one event, we should approve one event for the swim club at the same time, because we know that they're gonna be wanting that as well.
Mhm.
And then
She arranges that
We-
too.
can have staff come back with a policy that we can approve. I think this needs to be a policy at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree.
We're just approving.
A bylaw?
Well, you can't regulate by policy.
Okay.
They land that.
But if it has to go through here next time as well, then at least we have some control over it.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think you need something written that's fair for everybody, not
Yeah.
one-offs of,
That's right.
So the request from Brenda Ferguson dated January 23rd, 2024, requesting camping being baseball fields for all tournaments and swim meets be approved pending site cleanup and insurance. So who's approving the safety plan? Public Works? RCMP?
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know if we have.
They clean up and insure.
I don't know, I've lost track of what the original motion was.
Well, now,
Would it be approved? That's the original.
at the point now where I would
That's almost,
turn it right around and say not approve it and we get. But I don't, and Elaine, I appreciate what you said. Her request is only for the fall one.
And
She-
swimming,
No, as of right now, she's running the two and
and
swim
swim meets.
as a big meet.
But she said she organizes both. She told me when I talked to her. Or Heidi maybe told me that she organizes both.
Yeah, and
She's
she said that
involved.
She's running 2 tournaments and the swimming.
But I think she's involved with swimming. I mean, I could be wrong, but I thought she said she.
Councillor Lozey.
I think the original motion said approve the first one and see how it goes and then the
The swim club can come and
yeah, and the next club, the next baseball, just see how it
First ball
goes.
tournament. The June ball tournament.
Yeah.
June. ball.
Approval will be contingent on.
oh, yeah. That was good.
Yeah.
You read that back just so we're all clear, because
Do your wizardry.
Request from Brenda Ferguson dated January 23rd, 2024, requesting camping be permitted at the baseball fields for their June baseball tournament be approved.
all in favor. Harry. With that, we're adjourned.